Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. It is, of course, Thursday. And for the SNP, that means Penny Dreadful. It's another day when the SNP go up against the dear sweet Penny Mordaunt and have their arses handed to them. And this day is no different from any other Thursday, as poor Deidre Brockhas stood there and took a complete lashing from the wonderful Penny Mordaunt. God bless her and all who's sailing her. We all know my feelings towards Penny Mordaunt. Oh yes, darling. Matron. But I will not push that one anymore. We'll have a look to see what Penny did to dear Deirdre. And we'll see how bad it can be. Oh boy. Oh boy. Deirdre, I don't know, she must stand there on a Thursday and go, oh God, not again. It's Thursday. Please, no, not me. Whereas Penny walks in, and you can almost hear the Imperial theme in your head. Doon, 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 doon. It's almost like Darth Vader coming in to face dear Deirdre. And then she sits there and just reaches out and squeezes the blood from her heart from a distance. Because that's all she does. She looks into the very soul of Deidre Brock and just destroys it. Marvellous woman. Let's have a look at what Penny Dreadful did again today to Deidre Brock. Here goes. Penny Mordaunt decimates SNP morals high ground in brutal takedown. Now, this was stunning. I got to be honest, I love Penny Mordaunt. I think she is superb. And I think if the Tories were wise, they get rid of Rishi, and they get rid of Rishi really quickly. And they install Penny Mordaunt as their new leader. This woman is absolutely fantastic. And I've got no bearing. I'm not political in that. I don't support a party anymore. I think all parties are awful. But I do like individual MPs. Now, she's not above having made mistakes in the past, of course. She has had some bad takes on things. But even so, her performances alone are magnificent. The leader of the House of Commons hammered Deidre Brock in their weekly joust after the Nat had failed to land a blow with meek Penny Dreadful jibe. So Brock was coming out and saying, oh, Penny Dreadful and that, as though it was a bad thing. And we who love Penny Mordaunt, we call her Penny Dreadful because she spears the dread into the SNP every Thursday afternoon. Out she comes and bang, and destroys them every week. It is, well, it's not even sport anymore. If they were any good at it, it would be sport. For Penny, it's just practice. Let's go out and skin an SNP MP. And she does. And she gets in there. And honestly, she takes the badger apart, doesn't she? So Penny Mordaunt has slapped down SNP MP Deidre Brock by calling into question the Nat's morals on everything from gay marriage to education, as they clashed in the Commons on Thursday, and they clash every Thursday, and Penny always wins. Miss Brock characterised the Tories MPs' regular Nat takedowns as Penny Dreadful scripts, as she said Miss Mordaunt's immigration stance was damaging and particularly disturbing, as opposed to the SNP who just want uncontrolled, unlimited immigration. You don't know who's coming in or what. She bragged about Scotland having the highest number of GPs per head and free prescriptions, and told MPs that not a single day was lost to industrial disputes in Scotland's NHS. Before we go any further, I did the thing today how the NHS in Scotland is about to collapse under its own weight. I don't think Brock should be mentioning the NHS at all, given how bad it's about to be. Anyway, Miss Mordaunt hit back, asking, does she think the SNP is moral? And she highlighted the recent revelation that the SNP Health Secretary rejected the offer of English surgery spots to help alleviate some of the waiting times for NHS Scotland, and therefore very morally let people continue to exist in pain and to die on waiting lists. Hardly moral or ethical, I think. Miss Mordaunt said, I understand that the former Health Secretary made that offer to the First Minister and it was rejected. She went on to scrutinise SNP spending, stating, is it moral to offer a pay deal, as she boasts to the public sector workers, including NHS workers, without a plan to pay for it. She said, come to think of it, is it moral to withhold funds designated for business rates from those businesses, which she described? Is it moral for a government that denied its citizens the ability to have a civil partnership with their opposite sex partner for a year, including those who were terminally ill, because they didn't want the UK government to legislate on their behalf? Miss Mordaunt then told the Nat MP just to check how many police current investigations there are into SNP antics. At one stage, the questioning, Miss Brock raised the Tories' immigration stance, leading Miss Mordaunt to say, I will just set the record straight in terms of my own record with regard to refugees. I spent 2 years in the Eastern Bloc after the Romanian Revolution, looking after the most desperate and vulnerable people, she said. And more recently, I've spent time on the water in the Mediterranean and in northern Libya, tracking migration and people trafficking routes. She concluded, I can tell her that this issue is one of the most crucial facing our country and the world. And I've made it my business to understand how we can fix it. Miss Brock said, it's tempting to forestall and dismantle how any spin the leader may be inclined to bring up on Scottish education issues, given Westminster's shocking record in that department. But following the leader's outburst against Scotland's health service workers last week, I feel I need to clear up a few things as Scotland watches one of her weekly rants. This is talking about Penny. And she went on to list some of the useful facts, telling MPs health funding in Scotland is at a record high. Now, it may be at a record high, but it isn't high enough. They keep saying, oh, we're putting more and more money into the NHS. Yes, but the money you're putting in is never enough to match inflation. So actually, it's continual, real-term cuts. But she's not telling people that. Staffing levels are also at a record high, with far more staff per head than England. Well, if you measure staff per head, yes. If you measure staff, no. And if you measure the requirements, there's way, both in numbers and in per head, vacancies in Scotland than there is in England. Again, why isn't she telling the whole truth? Because the truth hurts and is damaging. She says, of course, there's always room for improvement, but as the leader reaches for her latest Penny Dreadful script, she can rest assured I will always be happy to set the record straight wherever her imagination takes her. It's a good bit of cut and thrust, but Penny ripped her a new one, especially over the morals. There is nothing moral about the SNP. It is, after all, the SNP that want to question 5-year-olds on their sexual preferences. Deary me. God bless you, Penny. God bless you. I'll come up. Penny Mordaunt is a member of the Magic Circle. Deidre Brockhas isn't. And that is why Penny can pull rabbits out of hats and the old badger just goes down and climbs into its hole. And as time goes on, it just gets more and more obvious that Brock is not up to the job of standing up against the sheer force that is Penny Mordaunt. As I say, she has got to be the next Tory leader, or the Tories are finished. Anyway, we'll finish there. It's been a good day. This is probably my last video. I don't know it is. It's my last of the scheduled videos. If anything happens, I will, of course, drop up a flash video. You may already have had a flash video that I've done, because these go out and are scheduled later in the day. I'm finishing and it's about just coming up to 2 o'clock now, because I know things to do. So have a good evening. Do enjoy your evening. Like I say, if there's a flash video or two, you might have had them already, or there might be one coming. But absolutely do please hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel. And definitely hit the like. That helps the video. And until tomorrow, when we start this whole process of ripping the SNP apart again, I shall speak to you later. Goodbye.